Hey everybody. It is Friday night. Friday night live and um yeah, it's 8:48. It's late. I got back home to LA, taught a couple Pilates classes, had dinner with a friend, and here I am. So, let's talk about training camp. I didn't want to do a static video just cuz I don't know, I'm just talking to myself. So, let's talk to other people is what I was thinking. So, the defense won the day and it was without Brock Purdy, who is away for personal reasons. We do not know what those are, but apparently he is okay. Non injury related for Brock Purdy, absence from training camp. He'll have also Saturday off because the team has Saturday off. And then Sunday, the last unpadded practice. And then Monday, pads are on and it is business. So, hello, PNW Mark. Do you live in the Pacific Northwest? Is that why you're PNW Mark? Making my dessert as a protein smoothie. That's chocolate that apparently iced over. I put too much ice in it. That's what you get on a Friday night. So, defense won the day. Renardo Green had the best practice I've ever seen him have. And Aberdeen. I've been to Aberdeen before. Renardo Green had one of the best practices I've seen from him. 3 pass breakups, 2 that were intended for Jauan Jennings, 1 that was intended for Jordan Watkins, and the last one, 25-yard, really nice pass from Mac Jones to Jauan Jennings. Renardo Green got in there, broke it up, and Jason Pinnock was celebrating with him. He's like, yeah, man, yeah. And he's kind of, as he was walking off, I was like, he's limping. And so then he went kind of behind the team on the sidelines, took his helmet off, and he did not participate in the rest of practice. I have a feeling he is going to be out for at least a few days. That's Renardo Green. Hamstring is what he looked like he was stretching. Obviously, I have no official word on what his injury is, but I do think it's a hamstring. It looked like it was right leg. So he kind of hobbled off the field, and it wasn't super noticeable because I was saying it to people and they're like, what? So, kind of tweeted that out there, and it looks like he probably, I think, will have a little time off, kind of like Jacob Cowing, hamstring injury. It just sucks this time of year, guys, and I'm not saying that they didn't do the work, but when guys come back and they push themselves too hard and they haven't been kind of working their way up, that's when these soft tissue injuries can happen. So this is why Kyle Shanahan spoke about it the other day. They kind of do this ramp up. So like the first practice that we saw on Wednesday was kind of lighter. Thursday was heavier. Again, today was a little shorter, a little lighter. Saturday off. Sunday will be a light practice leading into Monday's first padded practice, which will be heavier, longer. Monday will probably be the longest practice of those 3-day blocks. So it's kind of a ramp up, heavy day, ramp, kind of slow it down. So yeah, Renardo Green, he's been playing really well, had a really great practice, but just maybe add a little bit of time. So let me put this down. So kind of looking at my practice notes today, we did see Trent Williams. He was on the field. Christian McCaffrey was on the field. So for 2 days, 2 consecutive days, those vets are on the field. I am betting that I'm thinking that they probably will do individual drills on Sunday, but not practice, and then be out there for the first padded practice. They're going to be really careful with Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams. And part of that is them not participating in every single practice. So, and maybe they will be out there and maybe take a couple reps, but I just don't think so. Trent Williams was out there a lot. Every time I looked up and saw kind of the first team grouping, Trent Williams is out there. So Christian McCaffrey did take quite a few reps, but not as many as Trent Williams did. So with Brock Purdy out, Mac Jones got a ton more reps, and so did Tanner Mordecai. So it was just those 2 quarterbacks, because Curtis Rourke, don't forget, the one that was drafted in the 7th round, ACL injury. He played an entire college season with a torn ACL and a knee brace. It's kind of crazy. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll get to them. So practice, Christian McCaffrey mostly ran. I did see Isaac Guerrero running as well. Braden Willis was one of Mac Jones' favorite targets today. And every time a tight end would catch a pass, George Kittle was dancing around. And like George Kittle is just a breath of fresh air. He's over. There is some techno music kind of going on. He was dancing to it in his way. Pretty funny. Um, but anytime a tight end would make a great play, he was like jumping up and down, congratulating them. Ross Dwelly had a great catch today. Braden Willis had a couple. Running backs, it was a decent amount of Christian McCaffrey. We saw a good amount of Patrick Taylor as well. Jordan Watkins had a couple good receptions, the rookie. Also, a couple that were broken up. One was broken up by Renardo Green. So, yeah, I saw a lot of Isaac Guerrero. He took a lot of runs. Your starting offensive line for kind of the practice for the first team was Trent Williams, Nick Zakel, Jake Brendel, Dominic Pooney, Colton McKivitz. Let's see. Yeah, I think Colton McKivitz is just going to practice. He's going to bet on himself. And this is the thing. This is what Aaron Banks did last year. It is what Jalen Moore did. These guys they didn't have a contract coming up. They were just going to enter free agency and see how it went. And they got paid, right? Aaron Banks, a ton of money. Jalen Moore, a ton of money. So I think that Colton McKivitz is going to, play his best football as much as possible, go into a contract year, and potentially, if the 49ers can wrap him up, they need to do it now. But if they don't, he's going to test the open market and make a ton of money. 49ers offensive linemen that have proven that they are good are making a ton of money when they leave the 49ers. So they know that they've had great coaching. They know that they're capable. It is what it is. They're going to make a ton of money. So Colton McKivitz could be just making, could play out his year, see how it goes, and then make a ton of money next year with another team. It just kind of is the way of the world with the offensive linemen. It's Trent Williams with a ton of money and a private jet, a Gulfstream, and then the rest of them are kind of, they make decent money, but they don't make a ton. I think maybe the plan for Dominic Pooney, he stays around and maybe he transitions to left tackle if Trent Williams retires. But I do think they want to keep Trent Williams around as long as he is capable and still doing a nice job over there at left tackle, which he is. And he's healthy and he's practicing a lot. So I think that's good. So lots to talk about Jennings. Yeah. So, compared to last year, this is so much less dramatic. Everything that Brandon Ayuk did, I remember living it, and it was chaotic. Everything he did. Oh, he dapped up Kyle Shanahan today. Okay, let's write a story on that. Okay, he gave John Lynch a bro hug. Like, let's write a story on that. He did this. Like, everything Brandon Ayuk did last year was a story. And this year, Jauan Jennings is going about his business and just practicing, getting reps in, because he knows that, we've seen it, right? When Deebo Samuel held out and didn't practice, when Nick Bosa held out and didn't practice, when Brandon Ayuk held out and didn't practice, all of them came back right around week 1, and they didn't play like themselves. So I think there's some lessons to be learned. And Jauan Jennings, he's not a guy who's going to demand 15, 20, maybe 15. I think 15 would be the high, but he's not going to garner like a $20 to $30 million a year contract. 15 to 20, maybe the range. 15 is probably what we're thinking. I think he would be looking at. So but it's so nice for it not to be dramatic like it was last year. Last year was chaos. Trent Williams held out until week 1. Christian McCaffrey held out earlier in the offseason. Brandon Ayuk held out till like the very end. It was just total chaos. So it's nice that they have Fred Warner's done, George Kittle's done, Brock Purdy's done. And if you haven't listened to Tim Kawakami's interview with Kyle Shanahan, it's really good. So if you're a podcast listener, check out the TK show. It's Tim Kawakami. He has I think it's about a half an hour interview with Kyle Shanahan, and it's excellent. Kyle Shanahan talks about how Brock Purdy that's who he is. He's not going to hold out and say, I need $60 million a year. He's like, all right, that's good money. Let's make it happen. And his agent isn't like that either. Sometimes it's the agent, sometimes it's not the player. So the way the business works, it's just sometimes, you've got a player or an agent. Sometimes it's just the agent said, no, you sit back and I'm going to demand everything possible for you, which that's their job. So, I mean, yes, that's who you want on your side. But sometimes it just makes it really difficult on the franchise. It makes it difficult on the player as they reacclimate to the franchise to get ready for the season, which we've seen repeatedly, right? With Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams, and Brandon Ayuk. So, I think Jauan Jennings has seen that. I don't know if that's the reason why he's practicing, but I do know that he will set himself up for a much better season if he continues practicing. And I think that part of all of the players kind of wanting to be willing to get deals done quickly is Brock. If Brock Purdy's willing to take this type of deal, which is, he could have held out for a little bit more money. He probably could have. They would have done it eventually. But instead, I mean, it's a huge contract. So while it is, I'm going to use air quotes, team friendly, it's also a ton of money. But when your leader of your offense, leader of the team, the franchise quarterback doesn't hold out and demand every single penny he could get, I mean, it's an example. So maybe that's why Jauan Jennings is like, all right, I know I'm going to get paid. Let's just practice because I know they're light on wide receivers. And the more he practices with Brock, the more likely he's going to have another killer season, right? Jauan Jennings is wide receiver 1. So as long as he is on the same page as Brock Purdy, practices a ton, rebuilds that chemistry or continues that chemistry, he's just setting himself up for success, which only benefits him in the long run. So that being said, the first fight of the day, the first fight of training camp was Jauan Jennings and Deommodore Lenoir. Those two, the hyena and JJ, Third and Jauan, they were chatting at each other. They didn't blow. Well, there was a swing. I think it might have been Deommodore, but I'm not sure. There was a swing. There was yelling, pushing, shoving, and then there was a swing that did not land because someone would have a broken hand because they were both wearing helmets at the time. This is one thing I don't get. Guys, if you're fighting and you're playing football, don't throw a punch because you're going to hit a helmet and break your hand, and then your season is going to be shortened. So I know none of them are listening to me, but I'm just saying because it kills me when they swing at each other and they have helmets on. Anyways, it was kind of funny, but then they were on the far side of the field, and that's when the skirmish happened. And then they kind of came over to the other side, not immediately. It was like a couple plays later, and they were matched up again. And it was Jauan Jennings pushed. I think it was Renardo Green. He pushed him out of the way. Like, it was rough. And then it was Renardo and I think it was Deommodore Lenoir also. It was really physical on the other side of the ball too, but Jauan Jennings was having none of it and pushed someone down to the ground as he was running around. So yeah, first fight of camp. It's out of the way. Day 3, week 1. Let's see. Any questions here? I hope Jennings has a great year. I think he will because he's doing it the right way. He's practicing with Brock Purdy, which is necessary, building that chemistry. When presser happens, how do you ask your questions? It sounds like a free-for-all. Yeah, it is a free-for-all. It's kind of crazy. Generally, most of us are polite. And if we both start at the same time, it's like, okay, you go ahead. And then I'll ask the next one. But there are some people that are not as conscientious in the room. I try to do it when there's a break, or if someone asks a question and there's an answer and I have a follow-up, then I will be like, hey, I got a follow-up for that one. But it is a free-for-all. It's crazy. It's funny because like Trent Williams stood up at the podium for 15 seconds and he's like, hey, what's going on? All right, let's go. And no one had a question right away. So then, it was, once it got going, then it went on for a long time. And then people were talking over each other. I'm just one of those people that, like, if someone else is talking at the same time, I'll just like go ahead. And then I would think that everybody in the room is like, okay, Jen has a question, let her go next. But sometimes people aren't that conscientious. And so then you just have to talk over people. But generally, I'm like, it's, I'm going to be able to talk to these guys more than just today. So I'll get it in when I have to. But generally, like PR is kind of standing over to the side. And so if I keep trying to ask a question, they usually are like, all right, last one, Jen. Yesterday, I think I kept asking, trying to ask Robert Saleh a question. And then finally he was like, just let Jen ask a question. So because I've built relationships with the players and the coaches, and they know I'm not going to ask an asshole question, or that it's going to be something pertaining, like, not silly. Also, it had some substance. They're kind of like, hey, go ahead. Jimmy G was great at that. And like, I remember trying to ask a question. He's like, and they're like, last one. And I'm like, dude. And Jimmy's like, I got you. Go ahead. So generally guys are pretty cool about it. Kittle's about to eat our year. I think Kittle's going to have a great season because Brock in Nashville bought a house. And so he spent tons of the offseason. The first part of the offseason before minicamp, he worked in Florida with his quarterbacks coach, which Mac Jones also goes to. If you are new to my lives on these or videos, Mac Jones and Brock Purdy know each other from having the same quarterback coach. So that's in Florida. So Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall went to Florida to be targets, to be receivers, to work with all the quarterbacks there. And so that's where they got the extra time with Brock Purdy. Fast forward, after OTAs and minicamp, George Kittle has this huge facility in Nashville. I keep trying to get him to let me go see it. Maybe someday he'll let me. But huge facility in Nashville. He built a field in the back. If you go onto his stories, you can see his whole facility. And Brock Purdy and a bunch of tight ends were all down there. And CJ Beathard goes down there as well. And so the two quarterbacks will throw to whoever's there. And obviously, George Kittle is always one of them. It was funny when I was at Tight Ends University and I was standing outside waiting for an Uber or Lyft, whatever it was that day. And Mason Pline was walking in with like 3 huge bags. I'm like, it's only a 3-day event, dude. You like way overpacked. He's like, no, once I'm here, I'm here. I'm staying, so I can work out with George for the rest of the offseason. Then we'll go to training camp together. And I'm like, okay. So he's not the only one. Mason Pline, Jake Tongas came for Kittle Fest is what George was saying. I think he worked out there as well. A lot of the guys go down there and they just hang out because George has got a great facility. He's got a coach, Josh, who works out with the guys, sets everybody up, and like they go through specific lifting for their positions. Now, this is an interesting story. I don't know if you guys all know this. I found it fascinating when I started kind of getting into this reporting job. So Todd Marinovich, you all know who Todd Marinovich is, right? Was USC quarterback, number 1 pick at the Raiders. I mean, just kind of an anomaly, right? Like he was supposed to be, and his story is just so crazy, Todd's, but we're not talking about Todd tonight. Todd Marinovich's father, Marv Marinovich, was a strength and conditioning coach for the Raiders. Now, back in the day when all sports were working out together, I mean, even when I was an athlete, a college athlete, you benched, you deadlift, you squatted, and, you did cardio. You'll do like bicep curls, triceps. I mean, it was very kind of like, these basic exercises. Well, Marv Marinovich, and this was actually before I was in college even, so he saw how the Russian athletes were killing it at the Olympics, right? For so many years, the Olympics were dominated by Russian athletes. Back at when it was the USSR and it was Russia, and they were winning everything across the Olympics. So Marv Marinovich, Todd's dad, went to Russia, and he watched how the strength and conditioning coaches were customizing the workouts for the sports that people were doing. And this was never done in the States before. So he learned what certain athletes needed for their specific sport and the workouts that they were doing. I mean, customizable workouts. This was brought over to the United States by Marv Marinovich and the Russians. So Marv Marinovich brought that whole thought process back, brought it to the Raiders, and then Obviously, other NFL training staffs kind of copied what Marinovich, I don't know why I can say the time, Marv's system. Tight ends have a different workout than defensive linemen. Defensive linemen have different workouts than quarterbacks. Wide receivers have a different workout than quarterbacks, and all around. It's Marv Marinovich that really, was a catalyst for the way that the NFL players work out. And I just think that's a fascinating tidbit of how strength and conditioning coaches, and obviously it's kept evolving over time, but the fact that Marv Marinovich, his dad, and the Raiders were really key pieces in changing how professional athletes work out. I just think that how did that happen? And that's how it happened. And now you see, you have linebackers have certain drills and they did different drills, but they did certain ways to work out. You had, the linemen had different exercises and workouts than others. So it's all from the Raiders and Marv Marinovich. All right. He would never ask an asshole question. I would hope not. There are those that do, though. So yes, no, I don't try to do that. I try to be fair. Sometimes it's critical, and I think they all understand, was like when a play breaks down and it's like a huge explosive for the opposing team. I'm more like, tell me what happened on that play. What happened? Who had the missed assignment? It was a long time ago, and it's I think that's one of the biggest challenges when you go into the locker room and ask questions, is a guy who knows that they effed up in the game, knows it. How do you break the wall and talk to them? They know they have to face the music at some point, but asking them in a way that they will tell you exactly what happened, maybe not all of the secrets, but that it was a missed assignment and I thought this guy was going here and so I went there and then this play happened and then it was a touchdown and we lost the game. So I think that's one of the more challenging things, is when you have to go into a losing locker room, which is the worst, and ask questions. Why? What happened? So that's the challenging part. Since you and Matt used to break up post-game response. Yeah. Okay. So yes. So Jay Lowbridge has a question. Matt's going to be in the studio this year, pre and post-game. He is not going to travel at all. He's not going to be at any games at all, which is so weird. I've been sitting next to Matt for a long time, since 2018. And we work together and we talk about what approaches we're going to have during post-game, who's going to talk to who, blah, blah. He would go in the conference room, in the auditorium where Kyle Shanahan talks, the quarterback, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, and then usually some other player, whoever has a big game. He'll go in there. I take a camera guy and we go into the locker room and talk to everybody else. And it's kind of like, it's divide and conquer. And so that's going to be a little different this year. Obviously, I'll be working with Matt during the week, and we'll be together during practices and podcasts. And we're still going to do the podcast. We'll do it from separate locations. It's kind of sad. So it's going to be great for him. And I think everybody will enjoy post-game and pre-game more, because Matt is such a wealth of information. I love talking to him about football. So I think it's great for everybody that we all get more Matt on TV. But it's going to be kind of crazy for me, because it'll be me, and at home games, I'll have someone from NBC helping me out. But at away games, it'll be just me going from the conference room to the locker room, to the conference room, to the locker room, to back and forth, trying to get whoever I need to get for stories. Generally, I'll probably have to be in wherever Kyle Shanahan is first to get the injury updates, if there are any, or if there's timing things that happen that are kind of crazy during the game, like why did you call a timeout there? Why didn't you call a timeout there? I'll need to be in the room where Kyle Shanahan explains that. But then after that, then it'll be locker room to try and get guys that won't go to the podium. So a lot of times, it's your main guys are generally Fred Warner, George Kittle, Brock Purdy. It's been Trent Williams. So a lot of times Deommodore Lenoir, unless he has interception for a touchdown or something like that, generally he talks at his locker as opposed to going to the podium. So guys like that I'll be talking to. Special teams rarely goes to the podium, so usually we'll get those guys. If there's a game-winning field goal or a game-losing miss, I'll be in the locker room getting those, and I'll probably have the people that work with me, but with NBC, but that don't go to the games, kind of monitor the feed of all the people that go to the podium. So I think that's how it's going to work out. It's going to be new, and I'm going to miss Matt on the road. It's going to be kind of sad. All right, off topic, but since you're in wrestling, do you have any stories about Hulk? No, I don't. He's kind of before me. And I kind of started wrestling when it was the Hardy Boys and Lita. Lita was my favorite wrestler. I wanted to do everything like her. The Hardy Boys were like high flyers. I always did like all the scissor kick moves, flying head scissors. Hurricane Rana was my finisher. I did a lot of flips, sunset flips. So my moves were more flying moves. And then I took a lot of moves. I took a lot of body slams and suplexes and I don't know, everything. Yeah, but I was a good seller. So sell the move. No worries for the historical nugget, Lester. I think, isn't it crazy that that's how it happened? Interested in Alfred Collins' progress. Okay, so Alfred Collins was, again, at practice today. I just think this defensive line, this is what their focus is. The defensive line is going to eat while the secondary, which is good, but not amazing, I think it helps them out. So I think the focus is really, and it just kind of happens that way sometimes. Obviously, the draft fell into their lap in the way it did with defensive players. So those defense players are going to get a lot of time out there. Michael Williams, Trent Williams already gave him a ton of credit for just his physique, his long arms that are going to be really hard for a tackle to defend. And he's not only going to get around guys, but he's going to probably get his hand on a lot of passes. I think Michael Williams is set for having a great year. He's already got a friend in Nick Bosa. He has already using Trent Williams as a mentor, and he's got the best defensive line coach. I mean, one of them in the league, in Chris Kasarik. So, I mean, every practice, you just like anywhere you are on the field, I'm like, oh, there's Chris Kasarik. Also, please say a little prayer for Chris Kasarik's wife, who's dealing with cancer again for the second time. Just a lovely family. So say a little prayer for them. Any update on Renardo Green? And yeah, I did talk about it already. I think it's a hamstring, but I actually saw it happen. He was in coverage. He broke up a play. It was a Mac Jones pass to Jauan Jennings. He got his hand in there, broke it up, and Jason Pinnock was there and just congratulating. He's like, yeah, man, you got it. Congratulating him, celebrating with him. And as he kind of walked over, I was like, he's limping. Once he got past kind of over to the sidelines, he put his helmet down and he was trying to stretch out his right hamstring. So I think it's a hamstring injury. I hope it's not a knee. If it's a hamstring, he, will hopefully be able to make it back soon. Hopefully it's minor. No media access on Saturday at all. Sunday, Kyle Shanahan will talk. So we'll get more updates on Sunday. It'll be day 4 of training camp in the second grouping of days. So it's 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off. So that'll be the really important update. And then we'll also get an update on Brock Purdy if he's going to be back. Again, Brock Purdy was excused for a personal matter, but hearing that it's not health related at all. And Jacob Cowing is the only other absence that I saw out there. Shame on faux journalists. This one is about as useful as a parent. Oh, I am. Okay, cool. I talked a lot about practice in the game, so maybe you missed it. Maybe you'll just have to rewind. And I'll actually give it to you honestly. Let's see. Haven't heard much about Nick Martin. Nick Martin actually blitzed today, and he was out there. It was funny. I was standing next to Matt Barrows, and he's like, watch Nick Martin. I think he's going to blitz. And he did. Got through. It was a pass. Didn't get home, but I think that's how they might use Nick Martin. We haven't seen a linebacker blitz from a Kyle Shanahan team. Not very often. So I think that yeah, Nick Martin is going to have some chance to compete with D Winters for the linebacker spot next to Fred Warner. And, it's just going to take him some time. Fred Warner is kind of a unique guy. He actually got the green dot as a rookie and flourished, but that doesn't happen with everybody. So we'll see what Nick Martin does. Do you think Stout will be another Lenore? So when you look at Upton Stout and you see the lineup of players on the field, Upton Stout is not the biggest guy. Even Robert Saleh called him, he's a fun little player. I'm like, oh, if I was Upton Stout, I'd be like, dude, really? So I don't know if he'll be another Lenore, Diamond Lenore. Every time I see Lenore, I want to say Lenoir because I took French when I was in college, and that's how you would say. I need to ask Demo about that. But Demo is playing outside. I think Stout will play nickel. So as long as Renardo's healthy, it'll be Renardo and Demo on the outside. Stout will come in to play nickel. What I've seen is Jason Pinnock at safety, along with Richie Grant. And then Jair Brown has been coming in with the second team. Now, Jair Brown had an interception today. So he picked off Mac Jones, and it was supposed to be for either Jordan Watkins or Equinemius St. Brown. So Jair Brown did have an interception today. Also, Jalen Graham had an interception today. It was a pass by Tanner Mordecai that was supposed to be for one of the tight ends. I think was it for Jake Tongas? So Jalen Graham had an interception, and yes, it was for Jake Tongas. And Jair Brown had an interception. Renardo Green had 3 pass breakups, had a really good practice, but did kind of limp off the field, unfortunately. So hopefully he it's a quick one for him and he feels better. Chase Lucas had a pass breakup. That was one for Equinemius St. Brown. That was from Tanner Mordecai. Again, the offense wasn't great today. The defense really won because Brock Purdy wasn't out there. I mean, that's why Brock Purdy is the starting quarterback. He is, he operates that offense and it's very efficient. So let's see what else here. We need another Hanks. You mean like Leonard Hanks, the wide receivers coach? Let's see. Was that you in the Southwest commercial? Yep, I was in a Southwest commercial, but not recently though, right? You haven't seen it recently? It's been a little while. Bring back the black. I don't like the black uniform. Sorry. Merton Hanks. Got it. Yeah, he was a player, right? Whew. I mean, if the 49ers could have someone like that, that would be amazing. Is there a dark horse in the wide receiver room that might make the team and possibly reshuffling it? Yep. Isaiah Nair had the biggest, the most impressive catch on Thursday. 50-yard bomb from Mac Jones in like quadruple coverage, not super close coverage, but there are 4 defensive backs around him. And Mac Jones, great pass, but Nair fought for that pass and came down with it, probably like a 50-yard gain. So Jordan Watkins is a guy, rookie. I mean, I think the dark horses really are the rookies, and it's Isaiah Nair and Jordan Watkins. Those are the 2 guys that I think could make the 53. They've been having, it's only day 3. They don't have pads on yet. So not getting incredibly excited, but those 2 are the ones that have been standing out so far. Obviously, Jauan Jennings is going to be great. I hope Ricky Pearsall comes back. I did see Ricky Pearsall running yesterday. Dustin Perry was watching him, and he looks good. I think he's got his speed back, and he's got to hit those markers, and he'll be back, I think, on Sunday. So, a little ramp up practice so he can be out there with pads on Monday. If you're coming to practice, bring binoculars. It's every other day. They did bring fans out onto the field so they could be closer to the action, but it's still not a great view. So next practice on Sunday will be on the close field for the people in the stands. You should be able to see fine. on Monday, when it's the padded practice, I think it's going to be on the far field. So padded practice, bring your binoculars if you're coming to practice. Let's see. Yeah, I don't like the black either. Good. Thank you. Bryant Young has coached college and pros. I don't know if Bryant Young wants to coach again. Coaching is a lot of work. And look at Kyle Shanahan and what he looked like when he got the job and what he looks like now. He has aged a tremendous amount. He has been in stressful situations. I think he's still one of the best at what he does, but coaching is tough. It's a lot of time. It's huge time commitment. I don't know that Bryant Young would want to do that. I know he's been around the facility. He was at practice on Thursday, and so was Patrick Willis. So it's always good to get those guys around. Yep, we won't know a whole lot until the pads come on. That is correct. Status on Green. We won't know until Sunday about Renardo Green, but he did limp off the field, took his helmet off. There are only 6 plays left. So took his helmet off, tried to stretch out his hamstring, and then, we had the special teams coordinator, so we didn't get any updates on Renardo Green yet. So we'll see. Yes, Kyle is stressed out always. But, he's also kind of one of those, savant, incredible football minds. Let's see. Did you and Matt ever discuss the playing styles of John Taylor and Jerry Rice? Trying to figure out if Jauan is more of a Taylor style or a Jerry style. I would think more of a John Taylor style. Jerry's kind of, I feel like, not that Jauan is a more finesse, but I think Jerry has more speed than Jauan does. Jauan's not slow, but I feel like Jerry, once he got going, he was fast as heck. So I would think he's more like John Taylor, but I don't know. I'll let you guys all vote. All right. It's been 36 minutes, for goodness sakes, and it's Friday night, and it's 9:25, and I'm going to bed. So hope y'all are well. Maybe I'll do another live tomorrow if you guys like them. Let me know in the comments. Please let me know also what you would like to see. I've got a ton of videos in my camera roll right now. Which ones do you want to see first? Leave a comment, and I'll post them as shorts. I hope you guys are checking those out as well. All right. Talk to you guys later. Where's the end? The end stream. There we go. Bye. Happy Friday.